At a family birthday, my sister humiliated me, and my dad walked out without saying goodbye. It was so quick, I almost missed the moment he decided to leave. 1 second, Dad was standing near the kitchen island with his plastic cup of lemonade, shoulders hunched like he was trying to make himself smaller, and the next he was setting the cup down with this careful, quiet precision, like the sound of it touching the bench might trigger something, and turning toward the hallway. No eye contact. No, I'm just going to the loo. No awkward half-smile to smooth it over. He just walked. I watched his back disappear past the framed family photos, and something cold slid down my spine because I understood before I wanted to. He wasn't going to come back in time to save me. He was leaving me in it. The room was still buzzing from Chloe's laugh when she did it. My sister had the microphone. Literally, because Mom insists on hiring a little Bluetooth speaker for every family event now, like we're hosting a TED Talk about our own lives, and she tapped it twice, smiling sweetly. Okay, everyone, she chirped. Before we do cake, I made something. She said, made with that proud little tilt of her chin. People clapped automatically, the way families clap when someone announces a slideshow. The lights were dimmer than usual because someone had pulled the curtains to see the screen better, and the TV in the living room was waiting on a frozen YouTube thumbnail. I stood near the edge of the group with my partner Maya, fingers interlaced too tightly, and my stomach was already doing that anxious roll because Chloe doesn't make things unless she's making a point. She scanned the room like she was counting heads. Then her eyes landed on me, and her smile sharpened. "This one's called," she said, pausing for comedic timing, "Family Legends, the moments we'll never forget." It started harmless, baby photos, Dad with a dodgy mustache, Mom with her 80s perm, Uncle Frank holding a tiny newborn like it was a bomb. People laughed, relaxed. Chloe narrated like a talk show host. "Look at Mom's hair," she squealed. "Why did no one stop you?" Mom swatted at her, laughing, playing along because this was safe. Then the slideshow hit my teenage years. And Chloe's voice changed, not dramatically, just slightly, like she'd found the part she'd been waiting for. A photo popped up at me at 15, braces, a too big hoodie, eyes red like I'd been crying. I didn't remember the photo being taken. I felt my face heat instantly. "And here we have Aaron," Chloe said, laughing softly into the mic, the era of mood. A few people chuckled uncertainly. My aunt made a small, "oh" sound like she was bracing. Chloe clicked to the next slide. A screenshot of a Facebook status from years ago. My old account. A post I'd written at 19 during a breakup, something painfully earnest about feeling lost. The words were blown up on the screen, huge and bright. I could feel the blood rush to my ears. The room went quiet in that hungry way, like people lean in when something personal becomes entertainment. "Remember when she used to do these?" Chloe said. "Like constantly. We'd all be having dinner, and Aaron would just be deep." She did a little mock serious face, and some people laughed. Mom laughed too loud, too fast. "Oh, Chloe," she said like Chloe was just being cheeky. My hand started shaking. Maya's fingers tightened around mine. I could hear my heart in my throat, that thudding panic. I tried to catch Dad's eye across the room. He was still there then, standing stiffly, jaw tight. He looked away. Chloe clicked again. A photo of my old bedroom. My diary on the bed. My handwriting visible. My stomach dropped so hard it felt like a physical punch. "That was such a wild phase," Chloe said lightly. "The diary phase. The everyone hates me phase." She laughed, and her friends, yes, she invited friends, laughed too, because Chloe's friends always laugh when Chloe laughs. And then she continued, voice bright, the best part. "Do you guys remember the note she left on the fridge when she ran away for like 3 hours? A note appeared on the screen. My handwriting. A crumpled piece of paper I'd forgotten existed, photographed and turned into a punchline. I couldn't read the whole thing from where I stood, but I didn't need to. I knew the tone. I could feel 14-year-old me in my chest like a trapped animal. I remembered writing it with shaking hands because I didn't know how else to communicate pain in a house where pain was treated like inconvenience. Maya leaned toward me. "Do you want to leave?" she whispered. I should have said yes immediately. I should have grabbed her hand and walked out. But my legs wouldn't move. My body did that stupid freeze thing, Like if I stayed still enough, maybe Chloe would stop. Maybe someone would stop her. Maybe Mom would finally say, "That's enough." Maybe Dad would. I kept waiting for the adult in the room. I kept forgetting I was the adult now. Chloe's voice softened into faux sympathy. To be fair, she said, "We were all worried. Like, is she okay? Is she going to?" She made a vague gesture with her hand, the kind that suggests self-harm without saying it. My skin went cold. A couple people murmured, "Oh." Someone shifted uncomfortably, and Chloe smiled like she'd done something brave by bringing it up. Then she did the thing that finished me. She held up her phone. "Oh, and I found this," she said, like she discovered a fun throwback. "Dad kept it. Isn't that sweet?" She tapped her screen, and the speaker crackled, and suddenly my own voice filled the room. High, shaky, crying. A voicemail. Me at 19, sobbing, begging my dad to pick up, words spilling out in panic. I couldn't even process what I was hearing at first, because it felt like being punched from the inside. People froze. The air went thick. My lungs wouldn't work properly. "Dad, please," my recorded voice said, cracking. I can't do this. I can't breathe. Please call me back." The sound of my own desperation in front of everyone made my vision blur. I felt like my body was trying to leave without me. I heard a couple of Chloe's friends giggle nervously and then stop when they realized it wasn't cute. My aunt's face went pale. Mom's mouth opened, then closed, like she couldn't decide whether to pretend it was funny or pretend it was serious. Chloe laughed lightly into the mic. Okay, don't worry, she's alive," she said, as if that was the punchline. And that's when Dad set his cup down and walked out without saying goodbye. He didn't defend me. He didn't tell Chloe to stop. He didn't tell the room to shut up. He didn't even look at me. He just left like the only way he could survive the moment was by removing his body from it. For a second, the silence after the voicemail was so heavy I could hear the faint hiss of the speaker. Chloe's smile faltered just slightly, but she recovered fast. "Anyway," she chirped. "Family, right?" She clicked forward like nothing had happened. My hand was shaking so hard my nails dug into Maya's palm. My throat burned. I tried to swallow and couldn't. And then my mom, laughed again. Not a real laugh. A panic laugh. The laugh she uses to smooth discomfort. "Chloe, you're terrible," she said, like it was playful. Like Chloe hadn't just exposed something raw and private and humiliating. That was the moment I felt something inside me detach. Not numbness exactly. More like a rope snapping. I'd spent my whole life thinking if I showed up enough, if I behaved, if I stayed calm, someone would choose me in the room. Someone would say my name with care. Someone would step in. And here was my mom laughing to make it easier for everyone else to digest my pain as entertainment, while my dad walked out to protect himself from witnessing it. I heard myself say out loud, "Turn it off." Chloe blinked like she didn't hear. "What? Turn it off," I repeated louder. My voice sounded weirdly steady compared to how I felt, like it belonged to someone else. Chloe tilted her head, still smiling, still performing. "Aaron, relax. It's a joke." "It's not," Maya said beside me, and her voice was sharp enough that a couple people actually turned and looked at her properly for the first time all night. Chloe's eyes narrowed. "I wasn't talking to you." Maya didn't flinch. "You're humiliating her," she said, in front of everyone, with her own voicemail. Chloe rolled her eyes dramatically, mic still in hand. "Oh my God, she's fine," she said, and she laughed like I was being precious. "She's always been sensitive," my brother Eli supplied from the couch, smirking. Here we go. Something hot flared in my chest at that word. Sensitive. The family's favorite label. The sticker they slap on you, so they don't have to take responsibility for what they do. I looked at Chloe. Really looked. She had that same bright expression she gets when she thinks she's winning. "Why?" I asked, and my voice cracked slightly on the word. "Why did you do this?" Chloe shrugged like it was obvious. "Because you've been weird all year," she said. "Skipping things. Acting like you're too good for us. Mom's been stressed. Dad's been stressed. Everyone's been stressed. And you just float around like you're above it." Mom made a small noise like agreement, still trying to keep her face pleasant. "Aaron, sweetheart, can we not?" "Can we not what?" I snapped. and then immediately felt my own heart drop because I'd raised my voice. I could feel the room preparing to paint me as the problem. I swallowed hard and forced my tone down. Can we not react to being publicly humiliated? Is that the rule? Mom's eyes flashed. No one is humiliating you, she said quickly, like she could erase the last 5 minutes by denying them. I laughed once, short and shaky. Mom, she just played a voicemail of me crying, I said. In front of your guests. Chloe lifted her brows. They're family friends. Maya squeezed my hand again. We're leaving, she said quietly. Mom's face tightened with instant panic. Don't be dramatic, she hissed, that same phrase she uses like a leash. I looked around the room. People were staring now. Some looked embarrassed. Some looked entertained. Some looked annoyed that the vibe was ruined. My Aunt Linda was watching me like I was unpredictable. Eli looked bored. Chloe looked triumphant. And Dad was gone. That was when the grief hit. Not the dramatic kind. The quiet, nauseating grief of realizing there isn't a rescue coming. There never was. I turned back to the TV. The pause slide still showed my handwriting, huge on the screen. My teenage self screaming silently in ink. I walked over, took the remote from the coffee table, and turned the TV off. The screen went black, reflecting everyone's faces back at them for a split second before it fully darkened. Chloe's mouth dropped open. Excuse me? She snapped like I'd slapped her. I set the remote down carefully. I'm done, I said. Done with what? Chloe barked, stepping toward me, mic still in her hand. Being held accountable? Being part of the family. Histoire de hair. My voice came out quiet, and that quietness seemed to unnerve her more than yelling would have. This isn't accountability, I said. This is you using my worst moments for entertainment. Chloe scoffed. God, you're so... Stop, Maya said sharply. Just stop. Mom's face was red now. Aaron, you're ruining the birthday, she said. And there it was, the priority. Not my dignity. Not my privacy. Not my pain. The birthday. The performance. I nodded slowly, feeling something settle. Okay, I said. Then let me ruin it properly. Mom blinked. What does that mean? It means I'm leaving, I said. And I'm not coming back until you can say out loud that what she did was wrong. Mom's mouth tightened. You're making ultimatums now. I'm making boundaries, I said, and my voice was steadier now. And if that's an ultimatum to you, that's not my problem anymore. Chloe laughed, sharp and cruel. Oh my God. Listen to you, she said into the mic, and she actually raised it toward my face like she wanted to amplify me. Say something else from therapy, Aaron. Give us a quote. I felt Maya's body tense beside me like she was ready to lunge. I put a hand out slightly, a subtle stop. Not because Chloe deserved protection, but because I didn't want the story to become Maya attacked Chloe. I didn't want them to get that easy narrative. I looked at Chloe and said, You're not going to get a reaction you can mock. Chloe's smile faltered again. Whatever, she snapped. Go then. Leave like you always do. Dad already did. She said Dad's name like a weapon, like she knew it would land. It did. My chest tightened. Yeah, I said quietly. He did. I grabbed my bag, and Maya grabbed hers. We moved toward the front door. Mom followed, whisper hissing, Aaron, don't you dare do this. People are watching. I turned at the doorway. People were watching when she played my voicemail. I said, You didn't care then. Mom's eyes flicked away, guilt flashing and then hardening into anger. You always do this, she muttered. You always make everything heavy. Histoire de hair. You taught Chloe she could, I said softly. Every time you laughed to keep the peace, you taught her. Mom flinched like she'd been hit, and for a second I saw something like fear because she knew it was true. Then she swallowed it. Just go, she said, voice cold. If that's what you want. We left. In the car, the moment the doors shut, my body started shaking violently. I couldn't stop. My teeth chattered like I was cold, even though it was a warm night. Maya turned toward me, eyes wet with anger. I'm so sorry, she said, voice shaking too. I stared straight ahead, breathing in short bursts. He left. I whispered, and my voice sounded broken in a way that embarrassed me. He just left. Maya's jaw tightened. That's on him, she said. Not you. I nodded, but my chest felt like someone had scooped something out of it. I didn't want to go home. Not yet. Home felt too quiet for what was happening inside me. So I drove aimlessly for a while, streetlights sliding past, Christmas decorations blinking on houses like nothing mattered. Maya kept one hand on my knee, grounding me. My phone buzzed nonstop. Mom, Chloe, Illy, Aunt Linda. I didn't open anything until I pulled over at a small park near the river where the air smelled like grass and damp soil. Finally, I saw a text from Dad. Went for a drive. Needed air. That was it. No apology. No explanation. Just a note like he'd stepped out of a meeting. My throat burned. I typed back before I could overthink. You left me there. No reply. Maya watched my face. Do you want to call him? She asked gently. I shook my head. I don't even know what I'd say. I whispered. I don't know if I want to hear his voice. Because Dad has this way of speaking that makes everything feel smaller. He'll say, you know how Chloe is, or your mother's stressed, or wasn't that deep, and suddenly my pain becomes inconvenient background noise again. But 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Dad. My stomach lurched. I stared at the screen until it stopped buzzing. Then it rang again, and again. The third time, my hands moved on autopilot, and I answered. Hello. My voice came out hoarse. Dad didn't speak for a second. I could hear car noise, a faint indicator click, his breathing. Then he said quietly, I'm parked. Silence. I waited, throat tight, heart pounding. I shouldn't have left, Dad said finally, and his voice sounded older. Not stern, not controlling, tired. I swallowed hard. Why did you? I asked, and the question came out sharper than I intended. Dad exhaled long. Because I couldn't sit there and pretend, he said. And because if I stayed, I was going to do something that would make it worse. What, like defend me? I snapped before I could stop myself. Dad was quiet again. Then, very softly, he said, yes. That word hit me strangely. Not relief. Not warmth. More like a painful tug. Because it proved he knew how to do it. He just didn't. I watched her set that up, Dad said. I knew she'd made something. I didn't know. I didn't know she had your voicemail. My chest tightened. She had to get it from somewhere, I said, voice shaking. Dad's breath hitched slightly. I know, he admitted. I kept it. He stopped, like he hated himself. I kept it because it scared me. Because I didn't know what to do with it. And I told myself if I saved it, I could, I don't know. Prove it happened? Remind myself to check on you? It sounds stupid out loud. It sounds like you kept a recording of me begging you, I said, and my voice cracked on the last word. Dad went quiet. Then he said, I'm sorry. That was new. Dad doesn't apologize often. Not real apologies. Usually he gives explanations. I didn't give it to her, he added quickly. I swear. I didn't. But Chloe's been going through my phone, I think. She's done it before with Mom. She thinks she has a right. I stared out the windshield at the dark park. My hands were clenched in my lap, so hard my fingers hurt. So you left, I said quieter now. You left me to deal with it while you went for air. Dad's voice got rough. I did, he said, and that's on me. Maya's eyes widened slightly at that, at Dad actually owning something. I walked out, Dad continued, because I realized the moment I said stop, your mother was going to turn on me. And I panicked. There it was. The truth behind so much of our family. Fear, not love, not loyalty. Fear of conflict. Fear of Mom's reactions. Fear of Chloe's tantrums. Fear of being the next target. I'm sorry, Dad said again. I'm not calling to ask you to come back. I'm calling because I don't want you to think you deserve that. My throat burned. I swallowed hard. No one stopped her. I whispered. Not Mom. Not you. Not anyone. I know, Dad said, and I could hear something in his voice that sounded dangerously like tears. And I think I finally understand what it's been like for you. I didn't answer, because the part of me that still wants to believe him was fighting with the part of me that's tired of believing. Dad cleared his throat. I left because I couldn't watch them do it to you and keep pretending we're fine, he said. But leaving wasn't the right way. It just made you alone in it. I closed my eyes. My chest ached. Yeah, I whispered. It did. There was a pause. Then Dad said, I'm going to come by tomorrow. Just you and me, if you'll let me. Maya's hand squeezed my knee gently, like a reminder that I didn't have to agree. I don't know, I said honestly. I'm brave. I know, Dad said. You don't owe me anything. He exhaled. I'm scared too, Aaron. I'm scared of what we've allowed Chloe to become. I'm scared of your mother's denial. And I'm scared you'll disappear from my life, and I'll deserve it. That landed in my chest like a weight, because it was the first time Dad had admitted the fear out loud. The whole family runs on fear, and no one names it. I need space, I said quietly. Understand, Dad replied. I'll give it. We hung up, and the silence after the call felt strange. Not peaceful, not fixed, but less unreal. Maya looked at me. How do you feel? She asked. I stared ahead. Like I just watched my childhood in one slideshow, I said, and my voice sounded flat. Like Chloe finally said the quiet part out loud. My pain is entertainment. And like Dad finally admitted he's been afraid of doing the right thing. Maya nodded slowly. That doesn't undo what happened, she said. No, you whispered. It doesn't. When we got home, Mom sent a message. Dad's upset. Thanks. You always take things too far. Chloe's message was, you're welcome for the nostalgia. Maybe next time, don't act like a victim, and we won't have material. Eli sent, LOL, you made Dad leave. Congrats. I stared at the text until my eyes burned, then turned my phone off. The next morning, I woke up with that heavy, post-trauma exhaustion where your body feels like it got hit by a truck, even though you just existed. Maya made coffee. I sat at the table and stared at the mug. My hand shook when I lifted it. I kept hearing my own recorded voice in my head. I kept seeing Chloe smile. And underneath all of it, I kept seeing Dad's back as he walked out, because I realized something brutal. It's not just the humiliation that hurts. It's the moment you look for the person who's supposed to protect you, and you find absence instead. Dad might be sorry. He might even mean it. But the little kid in me still remembers all the times he left the room, metaphorically, staring at his plate, changing the subject, letting Mom and Chloe take over because it was easier to be quiet than to choose me publicly. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if Dad will actually change, or if his apology is just a moment of guilt that fades when Mom starts crying again. I don't know if Chloe will ever be held accountable, or if she'll keep getting rewarded with laughter. I don't know if Mom will ever stop prioritizing a nice atmosphere over my dignity. But I do know this. I'm done being the family's material. I'm done donating my worst moments so everyone else can feel close over my pain. And if that means they tell the story of me as the one who can't take a joke, then fine. Let them have their story. I'm keeping mine. Because the truth is, Chloe didn't just humiliate me at a birthday. She showed me exactly what role they've assigned me. How disposable my feelings are when they're inconvenient. And Dad walking out without saying goodbye didn't just hurt. It clarified. It showed me how much of this family runs on avoiding discomfort, even if the cost is me. I can't control whether they ever see me, but I can stop standing in rooms where my pain is a party trick.